Yo, I just climbed out a hole that was so deep. Have you ever seen a rose grow from a concrete?
Hey, so finding out last December 2020 that I had breast cancer, and this diagnosis coming out of left field for me. I did not have any genetic factors. I was under the age of 40, had never had a mammogram before, and I pretty much lived a decent, healthy life. Not too much junk food. I had a pretty good balance. Don't do any type of illicit drugs. Do drink alcohol from time to time when I'm out with my friends for a happy hour. But other than that, it was just something so just drastically, I hate to use the word shocking, but because you just never know in life. You know, kids get cancer, anybody can get cancer, it just can come up on you. You know, I'm in chemotherapy with people who swear that they're vegan, they exercise every day, they live this clean lifestyle, but yet they get cancer. So, you know, it's really hard to understand how, you know, you have these people that are living healthy lifestyles, and then you look at people who live totally opposite, who don't get things such as cancer. But being told that, I was also told that I was HER2 positive. And at the time, I didn't understand what being HER2 positive was. Like, okay, HER2 positive, I kind of heard of it back in the past, but not really. And my oncologist explained to me that it's basically a protein that is on these cells that makes your cancer multiply a lot faster. So I'm like, okay, being told you have cancer, it's moving fast, and it's just multiplying fast because you have this HER2 receptor. And at the time, I didn't really comprehend it fully as far as what the treatment route would be. So behold, being HER2 positive means that you have to have basically extra treatment or more treatment to help eliminate those proteins in those cells. Back in April, when I started my second phase of chemo, which included Taxol, and I started Herceptin and Perjeta. Herceptin and Perjeta are targeted drugs that are immunotherapies to target the HER2 cells. I actually was doing pretty good on those drugs. I have no complaints. Taxol, I have plenty complaints about, but Herceptin and Perjeta, I didn't have any complaints. My doctor informed me that I would have to go in every 3 months to get an echocardiogram of my heart, and to watch out for other different side effects. Surgery back in July, and before I went in for surgery, my oncologist did tell me that once my surgery is done and the mass tissue is taken out, when they go through it in pathology, if anything comes back showing that there was any cancer cell, any cancer cells, he said the number has to be 0.000000000. It has to be zeroed out. If anything comes back, you will have to switch over from Herceptin and Perjeta to Kadcyla. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I do not want to switch, because all the way up from April until then, which was in July, I didn't have any issues with Herceptin and Perjeta. So going into a new medication, a new infusion, it's like, I was doing good, so I don't want to have the risk of additional side effects or any other type of issues. I want to stick to where I'm at. Had the surgery, and just like my luck, pathology report comes back and I do not have a complete response to the chemotherapies. I actually had 5% of the tumor still left in that tissue that was taken out, which meant that I would have to switch over to the big sister, as my oncologist called it, medication. Kadcyla. Kadcyla, Kadcyla, Kadcyla. I didn't start reading up on it until maybe a week before I was going to start the treatment. And you know, you can go down a wormhole with Google, but there wasn't too much information on this particular drug, maybe because it was FDA approved in 2019, or maybe it's just not enough women on it. I don't know. But I did find 2 message boards with women going in on how they were on the medication, but didn't really hear too much or read too much, so to say, about the side effects, which was the main information that I wanted. Give me the information on the side effects, okay? What did you truly experience? Then I went on to this very helpful website called Her2. And I recommend it for anyone who is Her2 positive. Her2 is great about telling you the different side effects of the drugs. It explains it. It breaks it down what I love to call kindergarten style. That's how I like to explain things. That's how I want things explained to me when it comes down to medical terms. Please don't give me those long 16, 18 letter words. Break it down. And that's exactly what that website does. Speaking of that website, I did sign up for their program to receive emails and additional information. This is why you need to always read what you sign up for. I didn't realize that they were going to be sending me things. I appreciate it, but I didn't read that I was going to get a packet that I am grateful for. And one of the things that they did put in the packet was a water bottle. Can't have too many of these, right? They also had a journal in there for me to journal down my treatment, how I'm feeling, and anything going through the whole cancer journey. But what I really appreciated about this website was the detailed information that they had. And they also have a form on there, which is where I found most of my information. What made me scared of the new drug was that when they break down the different side effects, you know, they have the common ones and then they have the ones that are not so common. Under the not so common ones was, of course, it could cause heart failure. It can also cause difficulties within your lungs and your liver. And I'm like, okay, going a little bit too far there. You know, these are organs that I need. You know, I need them to be fully operable. I need them to work. It's a little bit scary when you see things of that nature, and for some of those things to not be in the bucket of least common, but in most common. And so as I was going through it, I really had this gut feeling come over me that I did not want to switch over, that I wanted to stay on the route of going to still receive the Herceptin and Perjeta. I made the decision up. In my head, I said, I am not doing any transitions over. I'm going to stick to what I'm doing, and that's what I'm going to tell my doctor that I am going to do. So here is treatment day. And I had already had my doctor's appointment 2 weeks before, when they basically told me that I had to be switched over. And this particular appointment was just going to be strictly treatment and for me to go in for labs, of course. I always do labs before treatment. Well, I did try to get in contact with my doctor beforehand, but there were some communication issues, which is very rare. I always have great communications with him in his office. I go into the nurse's station to go in for treatment, and I let them know I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it, Kadcyla. I just don't feel comfortable doing it. I deep dived into the world of Google, what gives you all the education that you need, and I just don't feel comfortable. Well, they can't go by my words and say, okay, Miss Adams, we're going to go back and give you Herceptin and Perjeta. No, I have to speak with my doctor. So I waited a while, not even really that long. It was about maybe 20 minutes, and my doctor fit me in to talk with him. The talk. I stood ground. I stood my ground. I said, doctor, I don't feel comfortable. I can't do it. You know, I can't change over to this drug. I can't do it. And he basically takes time from his other patients and breaks down with his assistant, and we go through together my concerns, and he basically compares what I was on, which is Herceptin and Perjeta, with this new drug to basically weigh out the side effects. And the largest one, which was, the risk of heart failure, I see that Herceptin and Perjeta really have a higher risk. And then the other risk that I was concerned about, like the liver failure, the damage to your lungs, were percentages below 1%. The concern that I had was that there was only roughly about a 10% difference between the new drug Kadcyla and Herceptin and Perjeta as far as the benefit of reoccurrence not happening within the next 3 to 5 years. So I said, do I really want to harm my body and give it a stronger drug due to 10%? Like, that's not really moving me. But what really changed my mind was my oncologist saying, I would definitely take 10%. There are women who have different types, more aggressive types of cancer, who would give anything for the 10%. When you think about the 10% chance raising, that you could be here on earth longer, be here with your kids, enjoy life longer, don't have reoccurrence. And this was key. He said, sometimes when the cancer comes back, it's not going to come back to your other breast. It's going to come back and attack a major organ. It's going to go somewhere else that, it's going to be harder to fight. And that is definitely the reason why I went ahead and switched over. And I started that day. The first day went pretty smooth. I didn't have any side effects except for the one that tends to not go away for any type of chemo that I have, which is fatigue. I did have fatigue. Probably about the third day, today's 7, I had fatigue. I actually have my up and coming 3rd treatment of Kadcyla tomorrow. I don't know what happened with me this second time. I don't know what went wrong. I didn't have any major side effects. I did have a little nausea the day of and the day after. The fatigue, of course. I did actually do last Saturday a 5K for Susan G. Komen. I walked, I didn't run, and completed that. But I think between my body coming off of trying to recover from my surgery, having this new drug put in, something went wrong, because I do have symptoms of my neuropathy coming back, and that is the last thing. Kadcyla does have a risk of neuropathy, and since I did have it pretty bad with Taxol, I just, it's horrible. And I have a long way to go. I have 14 cycles of it to complete. Every 3 weeks I will do a cycle, and I'm only at 2, 3 after tomorrow. So just looking into the future of me being just completely done with it. That's my goal. And just being grateful that I can do day-to-day activities and just keep my spirits up high. That's my Her2 journey that has switched up a little bit, and definitely there will be a part 2 to update on how my ride with this new drug is coming.